A beautiful good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you for today's webinar on fraud investigation methodologies. In the world where financial crimes and frauds are constantly evolving, the need for strong investigation methodologies has never been more crucial. I am Sana Nargun, Associate at Clue for Evidence Forensic Lab, and I am delighted to be a host for this insightful session. On the behalf of entire organizing team, I warmly welcome our participants who have joined on today's webinar on fraud investigation methodologies. We are delighted to have such an enthusiastic audience joining us from different places. Today's webinar is going to be very engaging and informative, and we are glad to have such diverse audience with us. Before we commence the session, I would like to take a moment to introduce our C4E institution. C4E institution is initiative of Clue for Evidence Foundation, which has now opened its doors to those who want to study and work in the various fields of investigation. C4E institution is the study with the brainchild of our honorable founder, Mr. Faninda B.N. Sir. C4E Foundation is an NGO designed for legal and investigative support. We do support and people, those who are required, and provides knowledge in the form of internships, trainings, webinars, seminars, etc. Also, we believe no support is complete without passing on to the next generation. Next, I would like to say a few words about a backbone of C4E groups. Mr. Faninda B.N. Sir, the chairman of Clue for Evidence Foundation, a court-commissioned forensic expert, and a legal professional also, and the founder of C4E Institution, an experienced forensic expert and legal professional with a demonstrated history of working in the law enforcement industry. Welcome you, sir. Now,
Thank you, Sana.
Without further delay, let's begin. It's give me a greater pleasure to introduce our speaker, Miss Sneha Sitaram. Miss Sneha Sitaram is a certified fraud examiner with over 6 years of experience in corporate investigations, fraud detection, and forensic analysis across different industries. She holds a Bachelor's of Commerce degree from Madras University and MBA in Finance from Algappa University. Sneha ma'am has led several high-profile cases involving employee misconduct, supplier fraud, bribery, and policy breaches. Through her career, she has worked in esteemed organizations such as Flipkart as assistant manager, Ernst Young as a senior consultant in forensics, BDO India as associate forensics, and Capri Assurance and Advisory Services as risk consultant. She brings strong expertise in data analytics, compliance and regulatory reviews, and fraud assessment. Additionally, ma'am has made significant contribution to the training and capacity building for industrial professionals, establishing her as a respected and trusted voice in the field of fraud investigations and corporate forensics. We heartily welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sahana. Thank you. Thanks, C4E team. Thank you, Paninder sir. So good to know everyone on this. And so if we are okay, we can get into the session. I can present my scene, screen as well.
I would request Faninda sir to speak on the welcoming our speaker today.
Madam, it was our pleasure to have you onboarded, and I believe with your experience and expertise on this matter, the audience would be much benefited, because this topic of discussion today is not much discussed in otherwise, except for the ongoing or field requirement for the investigation is concerned. So I believe that the audience will get the best out of your session. I wish all the audience the very best, and you as a speaker, I welcome you personally, and all the very best, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Paninder sir. So I also feel that maybe my session would give, all of us some insights, and it would be an learning from, for me as well on understanding. And if you have any doubts, anything, you can reach out to me. So I wanted this to be an interactive session so that people can approach me, or let me know if there is any hiccups or any kind of understanding issues which you have. Okay, let me just present my screen. That will help you to give me a minute.
Ma'am, there's a small announcement I should make.
Sure, please carry on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Dear all participants, before starting the session, there's a quick instruction. There should be 100% attendance from all the participants, in which attendance is marked based on your presence throughout the session, either from Google Meet or your YouTube channel. In addition to that, compulsory to attend the quiz at last end of the session to get the attendance. The link to the quiz will be shared in the chat box of Google Meet as well as live chat in the YouTube. Secondly, all the participants are requested to maintain their decorum throughout the session. Do not unmute or turn on the camera unless and until said so. You will be given last 10 minutes for Q&A session, where you participants can take the opportunity and clear your doubts. Now, it's my privilege to invite our esteemed speaker, Miss Sneha Sitaram, to take over the session and share their insights on fraud investigation methodologies. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Sahana. I hope that my screen is visible. I'm just making it comfortable. Yeah, let me know once anyone can give me a go ahead on this so that I can have an assurance that my screen is visible to everyone. Yeah, is it? I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this session. And I don't want to waste much time. So, as my background is already given, let's talk about fraud, and so what is it about, and why we are highlighting a lot about fraud these days, and why is it important for an organization or an economy, like for a matter of concern, like how this will impact on a day-to-day basis and even the business as well. So apart from that, we also should understand that fraud doesn't stop there. We are more concerned about the financial losses the industry or the organization is facing because of the fraud. And apart from that, main thing which we see over here is the trust. So trust is what the employees or the customers or the regulators and the public place in the organization, so anyone for that matter who holds a trust on the company, so that builds up an economy. So where when a trust is lost because of any kind of fraud or by whomsoever, and by various levels in the organization, it can actually very be difficult to rebuild the trust. So in the next 1 hour, so we would be going through.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Your PPT is not visible, ma'am.
Oh, that's why I wanted to check.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it visible now? Is it now visible?
No, no.
No. Okay. Have shared my screen. Just give me a moment. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are not audible also.
Is it is my screen visible now and my mic is audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, but we can't see the PPT.
Yeah, I'll present it now. Is my screen visible at least?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're visible.
Okay, right. Sorry for the inconvenience. Not sure where exactly it went. Yeah. Is it fine now? Are we able to see the webinar agenda overview screen? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And
No,
audible, right?
ma'am, you're audible, but the screen is not visible, ma'am.
Okay. Is it visible now in this way?
No, ma'am.
It's not visible, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. You
Yes.
might have the option on the bottom of your screen to share, ma'am.
Yes. I have made that only. I have actually applied that. Share. It is sharing, but after that, I think there is a disconnect or something. Just give me a moment. Is it visible now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Not sure why this problem is. I have been sharing it. Yeah. If you can share the PPT is also fine for me. If you,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have, I think you will be having, so it will be, easy to. I don't want to waste much time
Yes,
on
ma'am.
this.
Yes, ma'am. We will be
Yeah.
sharing the PPT. Yes, ma'am.
Inconvenience, everyone. Yeah. So meanwhile, the PPT is shared. So I will like to continue about the topic. So I don't want to waste much time, and I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. So in the next 1 hour, so we would be discussing on the topics such as how to detect fraud and what are the red flags we can identify on an early basis, and how to carry out the investigation, plan the investigation, carry out the investigations effectively, and also evidence handling. So that is very important in any fraud investigations, because unless you have an evidence which is admissible in the court of law, it's going to be difficult, and there's a question mark whether your investigation is a success or not based on that. So, and you can also understand that not all investigations are a success every time. So you don't have to really worry about it, but you should know as in where the investigation leads to and what are the outliers, what are the agenda, and so what are the anomalies based on which where the hypothesis which you are leading to. So we will talk about it further. So before we get into in detail session, I will like to show you some statistics, that is a global trends which is pertaining to ACFE's insights. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah, so here we see this is the statistics which is given, in the global terminology, where the report to nations, in 2024 has given the statistics for these schemes. So first of all, we need to understand about the occupational fraud. So occupational fraud is something where an employee who is in a position to actually in an organization, he is able to influence with his position or misuse the assets, or or misappropriate, or inflate the financial records. So all these would come under the occupational frauds and occupational fraud schemes. And where, if you can see here, there are three types. That is, one is the asset misappropriation scheme, financial statement fraud scheme, and corruption. So overall, if you notice that asset misappropriation scheme is something which is happening on a larger scale, where the level of the organization, if you see employees from various levels would be there in an organization. So employees who are in the where operational level would more likely or tend to misuse the assets meaning cash, inventory, and any other assets for this matter. So where you try to do some reimbursement frauds, or excess billing. So all these kind of frauds would fall under asset misappropriation. But in the survey, if you see, median loss occurring out of it is less, but the count of frauds happening, the percentage of fraud happening on a higher scale. So if you see in the financial statements fraud, the loss value is higher, but the percentage of cases, if you see, is less in the case of financial statement frauds, because that is quite on a larger scale, but the percentage is not that very easy to manipulate the financial statements, where you try to tweak the revenue or the liabilities, try to show some increased or less liability. So depending upon trying to picture the financial statement in a way that public would believe that the organization is doing good. So this is something relating to the financial statements also. Coming to corruption, if you see, most of the investigation cases in an organization, as a matter of that, we see it would be of corruption, that is 48%. So corruption means what kind of frauds we would be speaking as: kickback, which is for the personal gain. Then you have bribery, conflict of interest. So all these kind of would fall under the corruption. So this is how on a overall occupational fraud has been happening. And if you see, most of these frauds, how it is being detected, it is through tips. So tips meaning anyone from the organization who would have actually whistleblowed this particular issue, or fraud highlighted through various means. So we have 2 to 3 different means, and some companies follow different. If any of you are working in any organization, you would be able to relate how the tips being carried out, and also to maintain your anonymous anonymity while reporting any situation. So that is also being taken care of in some of the organizations, where ethics and legal team also plays a very major role in the reporting whistleblower mechanisms as well. And if you see here, what are all the can we go to the next slide? where I can also show you what here itself. You can have, telephone, emails, websites, directly posting it in your website. So all these can also see. Some people would directly give their names, but some would not prefer to give. Most actually will not prefer to, because of fear of retaliation in this part. So that's why, coming to an investigation, always investigators should have their responsibility on a very higher scale in maintaining the confidentiality of the whatever fraud which is happening, or whatever the complaints which is being reported to them, what is the information they have gathered. That is the reason we will be talking about the confidentiality aspect as well. And if you see here, so when we talk about the corruption and the financial statement frauds where the median losses were higher, and it is being done by owner or the executives of the organization mostly. This is according to the global trend and the survey which we have taken. And employees is on a less lighter scale. Okay. And so these are all some of the other factors how fraudsters can be identified. Even their behavioral concerns can also be one of the trigger point to identify their red flags. And so how are these frauds being detected? So nearly most of them are detected through tips. So that's what we also saw. And what happens in the end result? So what do you say that, if you feel that, okay, you have been carrying out an investigation and you have gone through the process, and finally either the whoever is the employee, suspected employee, we get an evidence against that particular person, and he is also being terminated or given to the law enforcement for further action. Do you feel that that is the objective of the investigator? No. So that is not the final objective of the investigator. Investigator should plan their timelines, their resources, and to find out the truth. So that is more important than zoning on to a person or a people or a suspected person. And then that is not an achievement of an investigator or a success of an investigation. Okay, so if we see here in the overall statistics viewpoint, 68% of the perpetrators were terminated by their employees, and 57 were reported to law enforcement. And some of the organization actually don't prefer to even try to give it to the law enforcement, because of they fear internal discipline. Maybe there will be a question on their internal discipline, and also feel of they like it can be an adverse publicity for them, so, or for their company. So that's why most of them even don't come out, and it is being handled by the company themselves internally. So now moving on to the how the investigation happens and what are all the objectives of the investigation. So before we move on, I just wanted to know if we can pose a question, like if any of you have had a chance to work in any investigation team who is attending in this, like do you know that in your company whether the whistleblower mechanism is rightly placed, or have you ever seen, or what kind of experience if you have had? Anyone can come up and say some words about it if you feel like. Yes, no? Okay, so can we move to the next slide where objectives of investigation we would be looking into? Yeah. So these are the main goals of the investigation, if you see. So we classify this as primary and secondary because, see, first of all, early indicators, or identifying the fraud indicators on a right time, on a or in the early detection. So it is like if you say, we cannot directly compare, but we can just say that it's like a cancer in the organization or in a company where before it spreads across and your loss becomes on a huge scale, it's always good to go on for a early indicator. So any kind of early indicators in an organization could save losses for the company and protect the company's assets and reputations. So apart from this, we should also ensure that during the investigation, compliance related aspects, be it legal or even the country standards compliance, should be followed, and there is no deviations, or the basic, some companies do have investigator protocols or their own manuals, okay, where investigators should follow those compliance while doing their investigation in the company, or be it anywhere, for that matter. And secondary consideration is what, where we already spoke about the confidentiality. So we will be throughout this session, we will be talking about this confidentiality then and there, because it is very critical process. And if any news of an investigation leaks too early, then suspect can even destroy the evidence, or intimidate the witnesses. So these kind of issues can also take place. We also need strong consideration with law enforcement and regulators whenever required, because that is also very important, and it actually goes in along with them, in line with them, okay. And apart from that, a well documented investigation, that is documented findings for future use, actually that is one which withstands the internal scrutiny, and which can, that gives the confidence for the investigator to take the evidence and submit it in the courtroom. So these goals should be always kept in mind in case of any investigation, while taking place. So that is something we will have to deal with. So coming to so when we talk about the goals of investigation, we have to understand who will do the investigation, who can do the investigation, and what should be the team structure of an investigation. So I'm more talking in the angle of an organization or a company. So we can also see there are big fours or other companies as well, consultant companies, where we do the assignments and then submit it to the clients, that is the companies, and then they submit it or take action further. So the rules for the investigators applies the same, be it external investigator or an internal investigator in this matter, okay. And then can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So coming here, here we will be talking about the team structure. So what kind of structure an investigation team should be there? So do you need a team, first of all, to investigate is one question, I understand. So what happens here is always investigation on a larger scale. If you see, losses more than in lakhs or in crores, it you need a lot of experts to understand this particular thing, because the fraud can be in anything. It can be in civil engineering, it can be in banking institution, it can be in insurance, anything for that matter. So you will need, for the legal perspective, there should be a legal team. For accounting perspective, there should be an accounting team. Apart from that, investigators who have a really good investigative brain to observe the patterns, then the what kind of hypothesis that can lead into. And apart from that, you will also need the industry experts if there is if the investigation is on a larger scale. So the normally this is according to the ACFE rules, where we have team consists of fraud examiners, internal auditors can also do these kind of investigations and then submit it further, and it can be a specialist, as I mentioned. And the reporting lines in an organization would be to the management or the audit committee or the board. And team size could also vary. So that's what I said. If it is an internal investigation, then for 1,000 employees there should be 3 investigators. So the cases can be from simple, or you can say straightforward, to complex as well. So depending upon the complexity and how far the involvement or the team members time is involved, it can be framed. So this this will apply both to the internal investigators or be it the external investigators. And credentials, it is just a matter, but normally CFEs do, then CAs, CPAs or LLBs, MPAs or others, anyone with an investigation brain can actually carry forward a very good investigation if you follow the key goals of investigation and the objectives for this. Okay. Apart from that, we can move to the next slide. So this comprises of the investigation team structure. And there is also one important point we have to note is if a weak team composition, while deriving a team or, forming a team, it is better that, a team should be in such a way that there is a mix of everything and whatever is required. So for that, investigation plan is necessary. We will get into that. So while planning, we should plan the resources also. That's when the team structure gets apt and it won't delay your investigation while doing that. Okay. And so this is again relating to the where we have spoken about, a lot of times on this session itself about the confidentiality. That is something very, very important for any investigators. So breach of any confidentiality can actually have a severe or a serious consequences, because investigation can be hampered or jeopardized or damaging the reputation of the organization or the investigators themselves, and even triggering any legal issues against the investigators themselves. So confidentiality much matters over here at any point of time. And legal obligations in handling. So again, confidentiality and legal goes hand in hand, where while handling the evidences which so far has been obtained have to be, that should be admissible in court. So in order to be admissible in court, we need to follow certain guidelines. Otherwise there is a chance of rejecting this particular evidence itself. So if you say not all evidences are admissible in the courtroom, so that is also one of the major point which the investigator to keep in mind while carrying out the investigation. So that's why documentation is very important for any investigator. Apart from that, consequences of breach of these can be a severe violation as well. So one question I would like to post here. So like if there is any leak, or email leak reveals the identity of the suspect or before the evidence is itself confirmed. Yes, someone wanted to ask something? Yeah. If you have anything, you can pause and ask. Like if you're not clear or any questions, you can ask them. Feel free to ask. Yeah. So I just wanted to pose one question is like, if there is a suspect and before the evidence is confirmed and his name or, his identity, something is getting leaked. So will that, so what kind of situation will that be for, the particular person who's a suspected person? So can anyone say that what kind of consequences can be there? Yes, please, Nagarkar.
मैम सस्पेक्ट को पता चलेगा तो वो उधर से निकलने की कोशिश कर सकता है, जो भी एविडेंसेस है उसको मैनिपुलेट कर सकता है, और आइडेंटिटी रिलीज होने से अगर वो सस्पेक्ट है, उसका अभी तक क्राइम प्रूफ नहीं हुआ है, तो फिर मतलब ह्यूमिलिएशन और वो भी पता चल मतलब हो सकता है.
Absolutely, it can go either ways. One is either the person may not have actually committed, before that itself his name leaks out, then the problem would be his name, his reputation getting damaged over there. And other point is that he can be aware of, and he can try to eliminate the further evidences against him. So both the ways it would be a problem. So very good point, Nagarkar. So it's really appreciated of you. Apart from that, what we can see here is, now let's get into the fraud investigation process. So while going through, we will be able to understand much better on further consequences, and what is the kind of plan which we will have to deal with. Can we move to the next slide so I can show you about the hypothesis? Yeah. So yeah, before that, I think we have spoken a lot on the confidentiality. So I don't want to repeat the same thing, same points, but I will just like to say a few things on here. Is integrity of the investigation should be met, and that's what the protection of whistleblowers is also important, as how we protect the information and the name of the suspect. Protecting the whistleblower or the reporter or the witnesses is very, very important, because it can turn out a retaliation against them, and it will have a really bad consequences on them. Apart from that, legal compliance, which we have spoken about, and workplace also doesn't get disturbed, because if there are some gossips going around in and there in the organization, that this involving these names and everything, that can actually disrupt the workplace as well. So these are all some of the important. So best practices is, we need to limit the access to who the person who need to know. So, and every sheet, every document should be password protected, and the access should be given to the only team members which we have seen, that is the team structure or the team investigators team who are involved in this particular assignment or project or the case which they are dealing with. Okay. And use secure channels for the communications, and even in case of any evidence storage, those also has to be taken care of, even if it is a cloud storage or be it on a hard drive or anything for that matter. And yeah, as we have discussed, passwords is also important. Next slide. Yeah, so this is relating to the legal obligation. This also we have seen, but in detail, if you see, we have to make sure that it is admissible in court, and we will see what are all the points and how the evidence to be collected and what are the rules to be, taken care of while making sure that this would be accepted in the court. Okay, and supports fair process, then aligns with the regulatory standards. And best practices, again, when it comes to legal obligation, is one thing which I wanted to say is about chain of custody. So chain of custody is something which is documented and it's unbroken. So all the trails which is of an audit should be documented then and there in the case of a chain of custody, so that even a small thing, when it is getting transferred or when it's getting shifted or any analysis for that matter, everything should be maintained in a proper order, so which follows a chain of custody. So that's what we call it as chain of custody in the case of investigations, where documentations are in trail and there is no disruptions. And even if you want to go back and refer to or retrieve it, it will not be hampered. And secure storage, again, for digital evidences and physical evidences, and always maintain the original format. That's why we have to maintain the integrity during the investigation, where none of the evidences are hampered or it's not altered, basically. And timely collection, timestamps, and training to the people who would be doing the investigation, and on a awareness also we will have to create. So that is about the importance of handling in the case of evidences in a legal manner. Next slide, please. So what happens if there is going to be any confidentiality breach also we have spoken about. And the best practices should be followed would be better to create contracts, NDAs. NDAs are non-disclosure agreements, where if two parties are getting involved in this investigation, and you're going to take some external party help or any expert help in this particular thing, it's better to get an NDA signed with them. Their expert knowledge will be helpful in the case of gathering the evidences, but getting this document done is also very important, because that will make your evidence be admissible in the court. I hope you're getting that. And use only secure channels. Don't use, like, some organization authorize WhatsApp and other chats, but normally it's through the organizational emails, or depending upon what is the authenticity of transferring channels, that has to be maintained for all the documents and information flow. Yeah. So we can now move into the investigation process. Next slide. Yeah. So next slide. So coming to investigation process, so first thing is hypothesis. So in any investigation, you will not have all the information at one time. You have to understand that very clearly. Not all the information you will get it. It's like a very, I would say that entire the team who was involved, what was covered, or what was actually sorry, where the problem is, or which document was used to make fraud. The thing you will have in the beginning. So how do we frame it? Complaint which is being reported, or the whistleblower mechanism, whatever tip which we have got. So what are all the things you have to make a rough sketch about it, like who, whom, when, where, what. So when you try to make that tree and try to map with the person involved, try to map with his, what is his role, who authorizes, so everything will form into picture. Sometimes it can be the person himself, the employee. Sometimes he would be just doing it. Who is approving? He would be the main guy. So evidences, uh, in order to gather evidences, we have to form this hypothesis, which is very important in any case to be handled. So think of an hypothesis as a compass, where it shows as a direction. Okay, so where your investigation case is leading into, whether it is leading you to a right direction. So don't and then don't assume also. So I'm not asking, like, normally hypothesis is not assumption. So normally assumption we try to rule apart from the case of investigation. So we just try to bring in that questioning, so that it leads us to the find the key evidences. So that is more important. For example, an employee manipulated a reimbursement claims over the last some quarter. Okay, so I can show you that example slide also. Maybe we can move to the next slide. Huh. So here, if you see, an employee manipulated the reimbursement claims over the last quarter. So here you need to note, I'm just talking here for how to bring out the hypothesis out of the information which we have. Okay, and this will help you to plan the investigation. Okay, so here an employee, so that is important. So employee means we understand that one employee is actually involved, and we know the employee specifically, and manipulated the reimbursement claim. So reimbursement claim is the problematic area over here. And they have also mentioned that over the last quarter. So while picking the sampling for the evidences, that is, taking out the travel bills or the invoices. So whatever document relating to the reimbursement claims, whether the what kind of expense, if it is travel, then the travel bills. So those kind of expenses or the travel bills, the invoices for that particular quarter, if we filter that data and check the approvals, and then examine the policies pertaining to the claim limits, and review the claim tracks and records, or how much he has claimed throughout that period, if we know the specific employee, it will be easier for you for the investigation focus, and time would also be saved, and there will not be any digging into the unrelated expense data or the other employee records in this manner. So always it is very important that time is a very big deal over here during investigation, because if what happens if there is a delay, uh, and that delay of investigation takes more time, problem of erasing the evidences, and also the impact of the loss, or impact of the situation, or the controls which we could have placed if the investigation was carried out, and it has been executed timely. There can be a lot of benefits apart from just dragging the investigation just to find out the right person, because time is more prevalent over here. So if you plan the investigation for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks, you have to keep a deadline that you close the evidences, everything within that 3 to 4 weeks of stipulated time. And then chances are that you will either get a new direction also during the end of the investigation, or you will get further evidences also. But you have to be very strict in the timelines during any investigation in this matter, and that's where the hypothesis and the planning plays a very critical role for any investigation. If you see, can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So before we get into further planning and everything, so far whatever we have discussed, I just want to understand whether how many of you are able to relate with this particular case. Very small aspects only I'm going to ask. So it's just one case study where I thought about a procurement manager in an organization. So it's a kind of a retail thing, who has actually colluded with a vendor, favored vendor, okay, and in return for personal kickbacks. So he approved inflated invoices over, several months. Several months is not specifically given here, but several months. So it is within an year is what we can take it. See, the overbilling reached up to some 35% above the actual delivery value, and that's where the red flag, that is a deviation they have noticed, which is causing the financial loss. So how do we approach this particular investigation to get the evidence is what matters over here. So can someone tell me about this, like what kind of investigation approach we can take, or what is the red flag is here, and what kind of a fraud scheme is this? Anyone can come up. You don't have to fully explain it, just small hints would also do, like what you feel about this particular case, what could be, how, if you are an investigator, how will you take up this case? Anyone wants to give a try? They can even give a try for one question as well. Data analysis, okay, that's a good point, Shriyanshu. So that is something very good. That is your data analysis of what here? So billing is the issue, inflated invoice is the issue. So what data you will be taking? You will be taking the data of invoices, and you have to, that's where the hypothesis and the planning comes into picture, where you will have to decide the sampling period. So from which time to which time you will be, which period you will be taking to get that correct key evidence, that is the inflated invoices. Okay, apart from data analysis, okay, getting the we can, through data analysis, what you can do is you will get some pattern of these inflated invoices. That's what we have arrived at. Later on they can actually see where the invoices have been, so you can pull out those invoices, okay, and then check those documents. That will be the document verification aspect. And then you can so the vendor also here, preferred vendor, so you can go and check their ledger as well. Apart from that, you should also understand there are a few other techniques also which we can use in order to establish that there is some collusion. So in order to uh, get that evidence of how did they collude, we have not got. So we know that he is approved for these particular invoices, and there are some deviations. But can you say that it is a fraud? It is only deviation, and it's an anomaly. You can't blame the person just that he's approved, and you don't have a proof that he's got that excess money or anything, but he's approved. There are people who approve, but still they may not be involved. That will be oversighting or negligence for that matter also. So how do we confirm that he's committed and he's colluded the fraud, like he's colluded with the vendor and he's committed the fraud? So for that, you can, even anyone wants to give a try, what else can be done for this? Interview, yes, interview is definitely will give you some behavioral patterns, but what if he says no?
Call records,
Sorry.
interaction between them. Like,
Yes, okay, we can put it in this way. There are a lot of, so in case of any organization, first of all, they can pull out the data of the email. So email review is one of the main aspects where with proper approvals and, with the proper forensic tool, which is, available and where authorization is there, you can pull out the data of the email between these employees and the outside. Vendor analysis is also one of the thing, but if you already know the vendor, then you don't have to go in for another vendor analysis. That's where hypothesis play. So we have to stick to the report. We are not going to find out how many vendors he has colluded with. That is not the objective here. Here the objective here is, even if he is done for one vendor or multiple vendors, he has committed a fraud. So you have to just prove for that one vendor. Formulation about, okay, also we know. Okay, bank statements can help. Yes, that can also help. If he is, you have to see, there are a lot of things. If the vendor's name, vendor or some of vendors proprietors or their relatives name appear in his bank statements, and there is a transaction, that is easily identifiable. But if he has used cash, then again it may not come out easily in bank statements. We can use email review if there is any exchange of any personal kind of messages. We can also retrieve these mobile chats as well. In some of the organizations, that is also allowed, where they have used WhatsApp or Google chats to communicate with the vendor. So these kind of tools, forensic tools, will be helpful to retrieve the data and gather the evidences in this case. Okay, apart from that, independent, so here in this case, if we go to email, can help us. Independent analysis, bank statement can also help us if the transactions have happened directly or through his family member's account or anything. It would be easier to identify. But first of all, we need to create an profile about that suspected person. So first of all, we need to understand who are all his family members, and then uh, who are all his close knitted people, like just make a profile of that particular person, and then those information can actually give you some hints during the process of the investigation. Okay, and this is a scheme where they have tried to collude. So it's a kickback scheme directly, it is coming under corruption. And preventive, if you see, would be before any payment is made, there should be some independent analysis, that is out of the country, out of the control, out of the department, some analysis, or like any two factor, like where we see that two-step verification is carried out. I think most of the steps are nowadays it's followed, but this is just an internal control point of view. But here we are more focused on what is a red flag, what is a fraud scheme, so, and what is the key evidences which will help us in the investigation process. and that will emphasize that this person has done the fraud. So while going, we are going to go in search of the truth, and not about framing this person or uh, you know uh, so always keep in mind that a fraud has happened, so that you can question in various terms in various ways, so that gathering evidence would be very this fraud scheme is actually it's a corruption where it would come under kickbacks. So personal gain, kickbacks, bribery, so all these would be. Yeah, I hope this is clear. We can move to the next slide. Any other questions? This is about good hypothesis and what are the do's and don'ts when we are framing an hypothesis, or when we are getting into an investigation plan. If anyone wants to have any specific question or clarification also, we can take up that so far. Good to go. Okay. So always during the hypothesis, you will have to revisit whatever you have got, so that new evidence or new direction emerges, like how we spoke about bank statements or analysis or email review. So we can think about it. Sometimes what happens is people will not only speak through that is communicate through email, there will be different communication channels. So we can even go in depth to WhatsApp to review this particular chats, because nowadays most of the dealings have been happening in WhatsApp. So chances of, and that is also in become some places official communication channels. So chances of retrieving the WhatsApp data can also be there. Okay, what is the potential threat or technique we are investigating? So potential threat or technique in the sense, see, we are not, there is no potential threat. So we go any investigation, if you see, it would be going based on the reporter information. So any reporter have come up with this particular issue in an organization, or even an internal audit team during their audit, they have found potential risk. Okay, so as you had mentioned, potential threat, so that can also be given to the investigators or the legal or the ethics team to go in and check out on these areas. There may not be even a fraud in those areas. So those kind of cases could also come up. So we are not going in search of risk or threats. Investigators will narrow down only to the problems which was reported. And that's where they plan the investigation going forward. I hope that is clear, the question. Okay. So Benford law in these kind of cases is, see, where you will have to see what is more important. So when you get to the next slide, I can explain you much better on this particular thing. Yeah, so these are effective hypothesis building, and how we gather the preliminary facts and formulate an hypothesis. Next slide. Yeah. So before getting into the Benford laws, because Benford law is something where this is, see, you need to understand that while doing an invoice verification, there will be a lot of invoices. Okay, so in that particular law, where they have a theory that we can stimulate. See, there are many data analytical tools nowadays. It will, if it is a big data, you can stimulate that theory where there is a problem or a pattern in the numbers. Okay, so where the invoice numbers seem to be invoice numbers, or the invoice value seem to be wherever the losses are happening in a specific what do you say, specific pattern. So that pattern or the numbering, and pulling out those particular invoices, we call it as the Benford law. This is, I'm just taking an example of invoices, because this number analysis can be applied to anything for that matter, any big data. Okay, so you need to understand that where this has to be applied. So this is all a theory, but we, while doing an investigation, we don't apply theory as such. Sorry, I didn't get the question. So we don't apply the theory as such. So it would be all these, patterns or the theories which we understand. We try to put it in a tool, that is data analytical tool, which helps us to form the pull out the data. So data analytical tools, if you see, we have this Excel is a basic one which we follow. Apart from that, we have SQL, or the we have Tableau, or we also have certain other where data, all these numbers or the laws or the Benford analysis, where the pattern or the invoice numbers or anything for that matter can be put. So Benford law gives only one particular theory, but we can stipulate more patterns of getting the numbers. For example, that numbers or the odd numbers which is forming, and that is coming out of a particular pattern. So it's very easy to pull out those particular information and then apply the analysis on that. That's what it is. That's why that theory is focused on numbers or the data analysis. So apart from that, while forming the hypothesis, I would also like to insist upon this fraud triangle. That's why I had come to this particular slide, because when you talk about Benford, you should also understand about the fraud triangle. This is the first stage of any investigation, where you need to see where the fraud is coming from, whether it is a pressure, opportunity, or rationalism. This bucket can be filled up to. So any person for that matter, any employee, he would be under any of these three situations to commit a fraud. Ultimate aim is money, but that money's motive is coming from any of these things. So that's why it is very important to understand how this pressure, opportunity, and rationalism, these three drivers, help us understand why the fraud might happen. And based on this, whatever laws or whatever theories which we have can be imposed on during any investigation. Apart from that, we should also set a, as we have discussed about the time is very important for any investigation. So that boundary should be set. And you have to document it. Again, whatever you feel the assumptions would be, we need to document it, but don't form that as a work plan, because they may not come to be a success later on. So you, wherever you have a document proof, with that you develop your analysis or your further investigation procedures. That will help you to create the further investigation. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so rationalism is satisfying himself. So that, for example, pressure, I'll tell you each of one of it if you want. Pressure is something, someone is going to pressure you to do this, you will have to do this, they'll threaten you. So that is pressure. Rationalism, I'll give you one example. An employee is actually working in a company for a very long time, but he is not getting his proper hikes or promotions or what he deserved. So he feels that, okay, I'll get it this way done, that is, I'll do this fraud, I'll get some money, because I'm rationalizing myself, because you are not giving me, I'm taking it myself. So just the justification he gives for himself for doing this is termed as rationalization. I hope you got it. And opportunity is, some people may not directly have the motive of doing this, but when an opportunity strikes them, they don't leave that. So that is also not right. So that is also forming part of the fraud triangle, motive to commit a fraud. Right. I think we can move to the next slide. No, before this, investigation plan. Before this, sorry. Previous slide, please. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so timeline, again, what we are going to do in an investigation is the planning. This is a roadmap basically. First, the planning stage. That involves the hypothesis also. Normally, you need to define all the goals, what we are going to do, who is the person, who are all the suspects right now, who can be the possible witnesses, who can be the possible suspects. Everything can be mapped in the planning stage. What are all the documents we are going to verify? What are all the time period which we are going to verify? And what are all the data requests which can be given on a prior basis during the planning stage, so that once the data is collected, we can get into the analysis stage. So analysis stage is again where all your theories and data analytical tools, forensic tools. Again, forensic tools here means for emails we have Intella, in case. So there are many tools and applications currently. I myself have not worked in all the tools. So some companies have specific, like they have one or two tools licenses, so these are also costly. Forensic tools are so, but based on the tools available, we try to extract the data and what are all the possible analysis which we can do. And apart from that, the reporting stage. So before you get into the reporting stage, you would have all your evidences, your plan, map, who are all the person involved, your documentation reviews, and if need be, you can even do public domain searches. I have not spoken a lot about the public domain searches, but that will also help you. But nowadays, social media, where you post, you are not, it's not very clear that you give your 100% real picture in the social media. So normally we don't very much rely on the public domain searches, but this will definitely help in case of conflict of interest cases, or where you are trying to map uh, you know uh, father son relationship, spouse and spouse or wife or husband relationship. So all these kind of relationships could be mapped with the help of social media. That is, I'm talking about Facebook, or Facebook, LinkedIn, or be it Instagram these days. So to an extent, you can also see if any employees are also related among themselves, if that case needs be. It's not in all the cases. So only depending upon the cases if it requires. Yes, that is all, Kirti. That's also possible. If you want, you can speak about it as well. You can do that, social media chats as well. But again, that's what I'm trying to say. We are going to sneak into other person's personal stuff. So you should have that proper authority approval. So before getting into it, because their personal thing shouldn't be affected or humiliated at any point of time, we have to take care of it, even if that's going to be a suspect, because that's very, very important protocol of any investigator. Okay. Yeah. So coming to the next slide. This is relating to the resources. So again, we have spoken a lot during the team structure. So how do we plan the resources is more important, so that your investigation doesn't get delayed. And if you, wherever necessary, if you are getting the expert team, that will help you reduce the investigation timeline. Expert team meaning, I'm talking about if it's going to be a civil engineering issue, get a civil engineer and get that quoting. Like I can just say, give an example. If there are some construction happening and they have given certain they have purchased some materials, and in an organization, and that is civil related construction, and you don't know the quantity of the materials to verify whether this BOQ is only important for this particular construction, or whether they have excessively procured those items, or have they given high price to those items. So all these can be vetted by the market experts, where we can get a civil engineer if it is required to check for these prices and get that certified, so that this can be used as a key evidence in your investigation as well, if that is pertaining, if that case demands. So again, it is all case to case basis over here. That's why we also say about the cross functional collaboration, because this is not a one person job. Investigation is always not a one person job. Normally a team. So investigation, if it is a success, it is a team success. So always you need to know how the investigators work as a team, and that gives out a very good investigation outcome as well. And wherever necessary, you have to be alert to get all the informations in line, and you have to be really alert to map the key evidences and the directions which is going on. Even a small name can be repeated anywhere, where we will have to see that whether that name got repeated in any other document, and why this name is getting repeated. So those kind of uh, you know um, uh, 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 anomaly should strike you. So this comes up with experiences, checking a document, or be it a normal, very normal document, or like as I mentioned, the suspect's profile can also give you. Sometimes he would have given a phone number of his wife, that can be a trigger to somewhere else, where some other information you can map up with. So there are, you have to be really alert and capture all the minute information about during the investigation, so that it is very easy to map the information that will lead to a very big um, this thing evidence. As we heard that AI is addressing our day-to-day activities, so decoding AI. So no, actually AI is helpful. We can say, I think there are nowadays AI tools is also coming up. That is actually very helpful in the document verification. Like if we say 3 to 4 years or 5 years back, we used to check each and every document and then map it. Nowadays, you just have to upload those in the AI tools. That is coming up. Documents are coming up where it will throw out the anomalies, but based on that anomalies, again you will have to apply your brain to know whether this is really a fraud. You can't just say that whatever anomalies the AI is throwing up will end up as a fraud. You will have to vet it once with your knowledge. Next slide, please. Yeah. So coming to evidence handling in case of an investigation. Uh, so what is the evidence strategy? We will look into the types of evidence in detail. Apart from that, so what is the collection method? Whether it is a legally, compliant, ethically compliant. So all these are depending upon case-to-case basis, organizational basis, whether internal or external. Just follow the protocols as per your organization. Chain of custody, as we have discussed in detail about this, for all evidences it has to be maintained. Storage also we have discussed, and how the integrity during an investigation matters. Physical, digital, testimonial, and documentary evidence are the types of evidences. We will also check what are all the types of evidences in the next slide. Next slide, please. So before we, maybe we can discuss and then come to the case study number 2. We can check the evidence, types of evidence, so that it will be a continuity. Next slide, please. So these are all the types of evidences. So again, I'm repeating here that not all the evidence can be actually taken up as admissible in the court of law. So you need to understand that each evidence is having specific importance. So testimonial evidence is, someone told me about the interview as one of the steps. I completely agree with that. So if they confess, or if some witnesses give a proper confession statement, that can be used as a testimonial evidence against that particular suspect. Sometimes even the suspects themselves agree to it. When we have proper documentary evidence or the email review evidences, we can question them with those evidence to the suspects. That will help you give a testimonial evidence. Apart from that, documentary evidences is also there, where it is more of physical or digital documents used to support or refute allegations. So again, these kind of documents are only mostly we get in an organization. If we talk about contracts, invoices, bank statements, emails, so these are the documents which we will be dealing it up in most of the cases, if you see. Because if it's going to be revenue or sales related, contracts and invoices will be into picture. If it's going to be your vendor kickbacks or price related or vendor related issues, definitely you will get into the bank statements, email reviews. So most of the, and I'll tell you, corruption, as we initially have seen in 47 to 48% of these schemes have been corruption. And most of the occupational frauds, the challenging aspect for an investigator is relating to the this is corruption related only. Because if you see financial statement fraud, or be it the other asset misappropriation fraud, if you do a physical verification or one-to-one verification, it is quite easy. I'm not telling you it's very easy. Definitely it is quite easy, because if something is deviated, immediately you can find it out. But these kind of kickbacks or the bribery or conflict of interest also sometimes may not be easily identifiable. It is quite challenging. Investigators have to sit down and understand what kind of documents can actually lead to a proper key evidence in this particular case. So that's why in most of the these cases, the documentary evidence, testimonial evidence, or the electronic evidence, that is emails and chats, will be more helpful. Physical evidence we don't normally use. Sometimes is like we try to get the laptop, but nowadays whatever is stored in the laptop, you get it through the image it in the disk, and digital forensics have come into place. So nowadays we don't directly go in for the physical evidence, if any gift items are involved other than the cash or anything that might prove out or turn out to be evidence. But in practicality, documentary and digital evidence have been playing the key roles. And apart from that, testimonial evidence is also one. So can we move to the next slide? Huh. So forms, so evidence can be in any of the forms. So whatever the types of evidence we have seen, it can be a direct evidence to you. Like some companies even maintain CCTVs. They can give you CCTV footages, but you can't see even those companies, they don't directly take the legal team or the ethical team will not directly take the CCTV footage as an evidence. Okay, because again, that there should be a corroborative evidence for that particular CCTV footage to understand that this is the these are all giving a true picture about that particular suspect or who is the person who's committed the fraud. And hearsay, if you see, hearsay is only a second-hand information, and normally this is not admissible. But in case of really specific situations, it can be a tip, or it can be a direction to the evidence, or to confirm the evidence. Demonstrative is there. So again, if we have to show the patterns from the data analysis or the various theories we have used, we can definitely create that into visuals now, and then project the anomalies in charts or timelines, and map them in a different time frames, and show that this is a timeline which is leading to a circumstantial evidence. So again, circumstantial is with that particular period, and whatever has been reported, this actually facts right with what we have heard. That is what we have seen. through the review. So that would turn out to be the circumstantial factor over here. So these are all the forms of evidence which we have through various other types of evidences we have seen. Can we move to the next slide? I understand. So in some cases, the resolution of CCTV is also not good. So yeah, so we don't, that's why I'm saying that is not the main source. All normally CCTV kind of evidences would come under the corroborative evidence only. We have to see with other document proofs or the digital evidences in order to get that. With just CCTV, you cannot penalize a person or terminate a person, because there are a lot of factors involved in it. The timestamp which is given in the CCTV also may not work properly at some time. So because that keeps running, if you get into a branch or any kind of stores or hubs for that matter, you will not be having that like maintenance, or sometimes due to lack of proper maintenance also CCTV won't be working properly. So direct reliability on the CCTV may not be. Yes, that's a good question. Call records directly cannot be considered as evidence until and unless the person, that is if there are 2 or 3 members in the call records, we have to get that confirmation from that particular person. If for example one person is talking, A is talking to another person B, okay, so what happens here is, if B is going to give a very critical information about a person C or A himself, okay, so you have to get that confirmation from the person B specifically, that you have only spoken this particular code and you have only given this particular information. That confirmation from that person is very important to consider this as an admissibility in the evidence aspect. Okay, right. Yeah, so this is again the document retrieval and seizure. So these are all the protocols which we normally have. Like for example, what are the document retrieval means, what kind of regulation do we follow, and what we have already discussed about the chain of custody or the data integrity for that matter. And if the evidence, whatever we have got, the evidence, whether we have got it from that person and whether we have got that person's approval also. See, even though he is giving it to us, he should be willingly giving to us. Even during an interview, there are a lot of protocols how to interview a person, but we can get into that details also. But where we will have to see that whoever is a suspect, whether he is willing to give whatever the evidence is. So it should not be that if it is a seizure kind of a thing, it cannot be done by everyone. We are not police over here. So police itself has a specific rules and guidelines. So here we cannot demand anything from any person, but due to cornering a person with certain evidences and questions, if he accepts, we can definitely get that document or the chat or anything retrieved from him, or even the device from him, and then get a confirmation from him. So everything should be followed in a proper legal standpoint. Otherwise what happens is, later on the suspect or the person or the employee in any stand, he can come and raise a complaint against the investigators, because that would be even more it's not a very safe point for the investigators. So investigators, when they are trying to find out a case, it is very important that they are safeguarding themselves in the process. That is very, very important. I understand that you are trying to prove certain thing, but it is not against the person, it is against the fraud. So that everyone will not understand. That is on the other side. What are the forms of evidences collected in pump and dump frauds? Okay, pump and dump frauds happens in okay, this is where we can, as we have discussed, demonstrative form would be more helpful over here to understand the how much funds have been gone into and the security analysis which you can make. So I think demonstrative evidence would be more helpful in this process. And also wherever necessary, every case will have documents as a baseline. So documentary evidence is physical. Those days it used to be physical, now it would be all digital only. So demonstrative would be the key aspect in case of pump and dump. So yeah, so and pre-authorize, these are all the essential things which we have already discussed. In case of any documented retrieval, we have to be very safe in collecting any documents. Even if your case is not succeeding, that is not a problem. You have to safeguard yourself, you have to safeguard the reporter, witness, and also the suspected times if it is required. So everything, and the fraud has to be highlighted. So these are the goals you have to keep in mind. So next slide. These are the sources of evidences. So these are very, like, this is just a basic common sources. So there are a lot of other sources. So it's again depending upon the case to case, or the company or the organization, what kind of documents they maintain. These are the very common one. That's why I had used these bank statements, emails, and invoices. So how to conduct. So normally, if you are from an audit or internal audit background, you must be knowing how to verify these documents. And apart from that, on investigative standpoint, what are all the keywords you will have to search in case of emails, and you will have to develop a keyword list depending upon the case. Retrieve those information on those particular emails. You can't go and check their 10,000 odd emails every time. You have to be very knack in selecting the keywords and then analyzing those emails, and you don't have to unnecessarily read through all the emails which is pertaining to that particular period. Invoices also follows the same way. Again, while planning, you will have to plan the strict timelines and go based on it. You can do some background check. You can even do site visit in case of if you have an issue with a vendor. So site visit also is comes under the surveillance aspect, because surveillance is not only CCTV or video or call records which we have. We can also go and check physically. Site visits are also happening. So we call it as market intelligence at times. So that is also, you can also fake a person and then, like, you're from this and that, and then you can go and try to speak to the suspect and get information. But again, you have to do everything with the proper protocol approvals and wherever it is necessary. Next slide. Yeah, again, this is, we spoke about interviewing. So interviewing also has certain specific what do you say, a very knack. Like, some interviews can even go for a day, some can go for 3 to 4 hours, some can end in just 5 or 10 minutes. So where and what to ask, what kind of questions to develop. We cannot demand or disrespect the person sitting in front of us. You will have to be very give open-ended questions to them so that they bring out some information. You have to check their behavioral patterns during the interview, whether you feel that they are not they are nervous, or they're nervous is out of what. So how are they trying to give you some information out of the out of the fear they are having. You have to structure the behavioral patterns and see what is the, try to get a rapport also, so that he gets a confidence on you to give more information, be it a witness or a suspect can be a preliminary suspect, and then there will be a main suspect. So he can give you some ideas about the main suspect if he gets confides in you, and if he feels that if I'm going to let it out, I'll be safe, and then I can give uh, so there are interview tactics, and you have to follow again interview protocols. Not all interviews can be successful again, where you will get the details, but yeah, definitely it will be a changing point in your investigation during the process. So again, the 7 Private cryptocurrency transactions, yeah, to be frank, I don't have much experience in private cryptocurrency transaction kind of cases. But how it is, so again, if you go based on the investigation protocol, if any document is missing, be it in any kind of cases, that itself becomes a point over there. It's not a fraud, but that is a very, very big evidence that this document should be there or this transaction should be there, but these are missing. So that itself is a red flag you will have to dig deep upon. So loss of documents or uh, missing documents is also a trigger point, is what I can say. Right. Any other questions? I think we are passing the timeline, but I would like to give this again. We have spoken a lot. So legal framework differ for investigating internal versus, okay. Yeah, understand your question. So legal framework, as in what happens is normally all the companies, okay, consulting as well as the other corporates, uh, be it any organization, will have a legal team, okay, and companies ethics guidelines would be there. So both of them get together, and that's how the legal framework happens. Wherein, see, I'll give you one example. If a company where they have found out that this fraud is being committed by a person A, and if they want to terminate that person or ask him to voluntarily resign, or try to give him another chance, but most of the companies don't give him another chance. Normally they ask him to resign or give a direct termination, and this will be vetted by the legal. So the decision lies with the particular legal management and the ethical team in that particular organization, and how they want to take up this case. Some of them may feel that terminating a lot of people will also their name or their public name would be will not be very safe. So that is the reason they may not want to, or some adverse media or adverse publicity would be created upon their organization. So how to deal with their thing is their protocol, that is the legal team or the ethical team decides. So every internal or be it external over here, every organization has its own set of legal frameworks, and that's how best practices they try to follow. That is it. So this is again the legal admissibility of evidence, so which we have already come across. And in case of non-compliance, evidence can be declared inadmissible in the court of law and may also result in, again, credibility is one of the point which we have spoke. So, and also legal action against the investigator. So you have to safeguard yourself first than anyone in this matter. Right. Any other questions? As we have already surpassed time. How often does evidence actually gets rejected for non-compliance? Okay, so this is something very we have to check on a case-to-case basis. See, normally we ourselves during the investigation, when you have some experience, you will know that this evidence will stand or not. So accordingly, you will try to dig deep, or you will try to get that proper evidence. So normally for non-compliance issues, is, for example, I can say is, you have not got proper approval for getting his laptop checked or getting his emails checked, but he is a suspect and he is a problem also, and ultimately you find out that he is committed a fraud, but you have not got proper approval for digging out his information. It can turn against you and the organization by him as well. So like without my knowledge is being checked, or it can be a problem that the investigator themselves have changed this, so that where the integrity gets affected. So these kind of cases normally can be rejected for non-compliance. But in the code of law, we don't, investigators as such, we don't directly go and submit this. Normally, in my experience, whatever I've seen, we give it to the clients, or the legal team takes it up to the court level. Any other question? Okay. I hope you guys would have had, like, I would have tried to give you a good session. And I hope that this, or whatever time we have put in, was fruitful and was able to help out and give you some insights about fraud investigation and evidence handling. Uh, if you're fine, then maybe we can uh, end the session. Yeah. Sahana, anything else, or anyone wants to?
No, ma'am. I'll just conclude it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that very insightful and informative session, ma'am. With your permission, we would like to open the session for the questioning now. So, dear participants, if you have any questions, please unmute or type in the chat box or use the raise hand feature. We will take them one by one. So, participants from YouTube also can drop their questions in the live chat.
Yeah. Okay. Career paths in cybersecurity. Yeah. So cybersecurity is something where you will have to deal with CISA, like CISA certified people. They can be from engineering or accounting background as well. So I have seen, like, I have some of my colleagues also in cybersecurity, where they mostly they try to it is a cyber frauds, so that we don't handle in. So there are two different departments: cyber security, cyber forensics, and the normal forensics, that is the fraud investigation. So sometimes if we need expert knowledge in case of IT related frauds, definitely we will reach out to the cybersecurity. But if you want to know more about cybersecurity, then mostly certificates like CISA will help you out to get into that particular path. Internship, actually, you can, so there is no such internship as such. Look, you can get into, if you are a fresher, definitely big fours have this particular practice, and also some of the mid-sized firm are also developing, which firms I can know. If you reach out to me separately, maybe I can give you some names for those mid-sized firms who are developing forensic team and fraud investigation team, where you can get full-fledged experience and your internship related experience as well in this particular domain. So definitely it will be help you. There are CA firms which are giving this particular exercises. You can reach out through LinkedIn, or as well as you can email them or directly contact them. If you reach out to me, I can give you some names, some company, some firms I can recommend, which I know who are into this domain. Okay, you can get the number from C4E management. They'll be able to guide you. Okay, that you will have to contact the C4E management for getting assignment this session. Anything else?
I hope there are no questions from the participants. Yes, thank you all for your insightful questions and active participation. A special thank you to our respected speaker for sharing your expertise and sparking such an engaging discussion, ma'am. Your insights have truly enriched our understanding the topic. Thank you.
My pleasure.
would
I
like-
really had a good time doing this thing. And if anything, they can reach out to me, and you can also guide them if anyone wants
Yes.
any information on this particular
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
I just would like to request our director, sir, to say a few words for this closing ceremony.
Hello, Sana. I think we might be facing some technical issue from Sir's end, but no issues.
Okay.
Firstly, I thank our esteemed speaker, Sneha ma'am, for making time out of her weekend, because that's a very rare that happens, that in spite having a packed schedule on their working week, taking out from their personal time. Okay, that's really a pleasure to have you, ma'am, in the event today. Thank you
Pleasure.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for this
coming
opportunity.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
I really
pleasure
love
is
it.
all ours,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Coming to dear audience and participants. So it's also we really appreciate for you people to taking out time of your weekend. In spite we can understand your commitments and other things. Even being so, on Sunday you people are being here really reflects how interested and dedicated you people are towards the field. All right. So speaking of certain concerns that you people had regarding knowing more about the field or connecting with us as well as the resource person, we can definitely help you people with that. Coming to the session e-certificate and other aspects, you people need to submit your quiz today, which we will be posting on the chat room as well as the live chat on the YouTube and Google Meet within next couple of minutes. Please submit the quiz within 5 minutes. You will be having 10 multiple choice questions just to and other aspects, refresh your understanding on the topic what we covered today. So once you submit the quiz, then it will be considered that you have completed your attendance. So provided on that by end of tomorrow, okay, that is by end of Monday, you will receive all your e-certificates, and the certificates will only be issued to the participants who have attended the session today and who have completed the quiz as concerned. All right. With respect to further, you people looking for communicating with respect to career guidance or with respect to educational suggestions or guidance or recommendations, we as Clue for Evidence Group as well as with our esteemed speaker will definitely always be there to help you people. To connect with us, you people have our email address with you as well as the um, contact number from the brochure. Apart from that, when we share the e-certificates to you people, we will be sharing the profile of our esteemed speaker as well as profile in the sense the contact details of esteemed speaker as well as our honorable founder sir as well as our institution. And you can also visit our website, that is www.clueforevidence.com, where you can see multiple segments of our uh, provision, that is our organizations such as foundation, institution and company, where you will get to see a lot of unique and exotic courses which you don't find much often in other organizations as concerned. So you people can look master's program, bachelor's program, certificate programs, other programs with respect to fraud investigation alone. Okay, so forensics or any other investigative studies, I think you can visit our website for further more guidance and clarity. Apart from that, with your e-certificate email, we'll also attach the contact and the profile of our esteemed speaker as well as the honorable founder sir, so that further you can explore more. All right. So I think Miss Sahana, you can take over and close the ceremony as per the plan. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. As we come to the end of this today's webinar, on the behalf of entire organizing team, and I extend heartfelt thanks to our speaker, Miss Sneha Sitaram, for taking time to share your knowledge, experience, and insights with us today. Your words have truly been enlightened, have given us fresh perspective to think about it, and we are truly grateful for you to bringing such energy, clarity, and expertise to this webinar. Your contribution has made today's session with both engaging and impactful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks to the team. Thanks to the audience. Thank you all. Thank you. Thanks, Sahana.
Yes, ma'am. I also extend my deepest gratitude to our respected director, sir, Mr. Faninda BN, sir, for gracing today's event with your presence and support. Your vision, encouragement, and constant guidance have been driving force behind making this program a grand successful. We are truly inspired by your leadership and commitment to the excellence. Thank you, sir, for your invaluable contribution. Thank you so much. I would like all the participants to go through the quiz link, which will be dropped by and will be shared in the chat box of Google Meet, and as well as in the live chat for in the YouTube. Thank you.
Yes, Sneha ma'am, you can take the leave from the meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thanks.
thank you so
Harsha.
much,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
Thank you
much.
for your time. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
So dear participants, kindly attend the quiz, which the link has been shared in the chat box. As well as the people who are watching on live stream, you can see the quiz on the live chat. So kindly attend, submit, and you may also take the leave from the meet. You will receive your certificate by end of tomorrow. I wish you all the best weekend and have a good day.